So this is in London on the 7th to the 11th of December. Yeah. It's an amazing show curated by this man here, this genius in front of us, at the South Bank Centre. Tickets available at southbankcentre.co.uk.
Can I say they are? It really is a case of while stocks last. I think if anyone does want to go, they should do it today because they're selling fast.
Of course they are. Southbankcentre.co.uk. I mean, one begs the question: how come? Why wouldn't you run this for longer? Because people would go and see this for like a month.
Well, I do have a little plan, which is that if it works out and if it turns out to be a kind of script that's reproducible, I would love it to be something that lots of theatres could do from year to year, and maybe even schools could do, and maybe they could even do in Australia and America. It's kind of because some of the money's going to Comet Relief,
right?
So the idea would be just like J.M. Barrie. Doesn't some of the money from Peter Pan always go to the Great Ormond Street Hospital? Exactly. So I've got a little hope that if it works out well, if we get a sufficiently enthusiastic and merry audience, that it might be something that lasts.
J.M. Barrie. He was a guy, wasn't he? His story's unbelievable, isn't it? He was a single parent, wasn't he? And he carried on writing, was a great dad, wrote all these amazing stories, and posthumously every single penny of profit from his estate goes to Great Ormond Street.
Do you think I should do that?
I think it's been done. You're not a follower, you're a leader.
Okay, I should give nothing to charity after I die.
Richard, I think you've done your bit, by the way.
All right.
With
a lot of help from you. We've had some fun over the years. We sold the Queen's car last year on Comet Relief.
We sold an E-Type just a couple of days ago for Children in Need. Same thing.
Congratulations. I think
but that was our
so
mutual more than a mutual pal to you. That was Matthew's idea.
Yeah,
years ago. So you got a car for him? I said, no, but I think we can get one. Anyway, no, this is great, man. And how much do you love Christmas out of 10? You still a full-on 10?
Yeah, I am still a full-on 10 because it is... I've just made this Genie movie, and the Genie movie is all about, you get a genie, you can have anything in the world, but the thing that you most want really is just to have a lovely meal with your family. And Christmas forces my family, many of whom have fled to America, to come home, and it's the one time we see them, and I like turkey.
Right, before so by the way, I love turkey. Yeah. I want to have it more often.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Well, I want to have it more often, and I want to have it both hot and cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love
with pickle.
Just talking about it now. Paul Roth's Cafe on Marylebone Lane does turkey sandwiches now. We should go there. We should go after this.
Yeah.
Before we move on, just one more plug for this. Christmas Actually, South Bank Centre's Royal Festival Hall, 7th to 11th of December. Lots of the profits going to Comet Relief. It's a great show. This man in front of us curated it. He knows his Christmas.
There are Christmas trees, there are lights, there's smoke, there's mystery. There's even a scary bit in it.
Southbankcentre.co.uk.
Yeah.
So what is the arc? Just give us the elevator pitch of the arc of the tale.
Well, no, it's not a story, you see.
Right,
it's a miscellany. So you come on and you think, what's going to happen? And then everything happens. You get literally all my favourite things. We tell 4 Christmas stories. There's the Christmas in the trenches story. There's the Band-Aid story. There's the story about how Apollo 8 went round the moon on Christmas Day and took the first pictures of the, that we've ever seen of the Earth from space. We went to the moon, but we discovered the Earth. And then Flo and Joan, who are those brilliant comedy, they're going to come on and play, and a guest star rocks up and gives presents to the audience. I mean, I think anybody who comes and isn't entertained wasn't alive when they entered the building.
Beyond Resuscitation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. So those 4 stories are great. That's why it could roll out. I was wondering how you're going to roll it out if it doesn't have a story, but that's how come.
Yeah.
And the songs are written? It's all done?
Yeah. I mean, there is some fantastic... We've just been doing this thing with the... We're going to, at the end of it, we're going to sing All I Want for Christmas Is You. And I've got the members of the cast of the film filmed them holding up the lyrics in the same way as Andrew Lincoln held up the card so that you can sing along, and there'll be Bill Nighy and Andrew Lincoln and Keira Knightley and stuff. So it's full of gimmicks. There's a little bit of Charlie Mackesy in there. It's going to be, I think it'll be gorgeous.
Just briefly on Bill Nighy's role in Love Actually.
Yes.
Is it true that he was first engaged for the read-through as a reader, and that is an accepted role in acting, in the world of acting, and you accept that role on the understanding that you're not auditioning for the film. You're merely helping the writers to get the script right.
Definitely. I'd seen him on stage. I hadn't liked him. He rocked up there because we were thinking of casting 2 other people. Couldn't decide who. This is true. Bill turns up, does it so perfectly, gets a laugh for every line. We cast him 5 minutes later, and every film I've done since then, he's been in.
Wow.
And it was a really, really lucky day.
Who were the other 2
for me?
People?
I've never revealed them, but they were...
Just I can't remember them. You're 60.
Actually, I think one of them was Robbie Coltrane, for instance.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't mind you saying that.
Well, he's not alive.
No, I am aware that he's deceased. How did that go wrong? It was going so well to them, wasn't it, at that point? Genie.
Well, no, but life is a rich mixture of sorrow and joy.
No, of course it is.
And we're just trying to pump up the joy.
Pump up the joy, man. Pump up the joy. Pump up the jam. So Genie, this film starring Melissa McCarthy.
Yes.
Now, the last time we exchanged emails in the middle of the night, I think you were off to direct her or something.
No, well, I wasn't directing, but I was there to eat the craft table. You
were parachuted in, weren't
you?
Something happened. All right, so what is Genie? How did it come about? How happy are you with it, etc.?
I'm doing all the work here, aren't you? Is that how you ask your questions now?
Well,
just tell me some stuff, etc.
It's the last half hour of the show. I've told them about this before. I think we should just play Beatles
Genie
records between now and then.
It's, I hope, a very funny and joyful film.
Yes.
It's based on a film I originally made with Alan Cumming, Lenny Henry, and Rowan Atkinson.
Right.
Alan Cumming has aged. He was like 25 then. He's now 55, and he is playing the villain.
I saw him in a Bond
film. He's playing Rowan's part in it, but the Genie is now played by Melissa McCarthy. She is fabulous.
Right.
I mean, she's such a sweet woman and a funny woman. Many comedians are cruel. You know that. You've come across them. But she's so gentle, and so all the emotion in this story she carries. But she's also hilarious and very amusingly dressed. And Papa Essiedu, one of Britain's greatest actors, the greatest Hamlet of his generation, is playing Bernard. And his life is going very wrong. He rubs a box, out pops Melissa McCarthy with hilarious consequences for about an hour. And then there's like a sad bit where it turns out they're best friends ever. And then there's a happy bit where everything turns out well.
So this is all on Sky, Sky Cinema from the 1st of December, called Genie. Tell us about the world of proper movies, not straight-to-video movies as they were once, straight-to-TV movies as they would be now, but proper movies now getting their first, their premiere on domestic platforms. Tell us about that world, how that's changed filmmaking.
Well, I don't. We tried as hard on this as I've tried on any other of the ones that came out. So I think the truth is that it's just a kind of different kind of quality control. You know, they make a lot of movies for streamers. A lot of them not many people watch. We hope that millions of people will watch this one. You try as hard as you possibly can. The budget was actually great. I mean, one of the reasons I did this movie is I wanted to make a Christmas movie set in New York.
Right.
You know, because all my movies are set in the street where I live, basically out of sheer laziness. But I wanted to make a movie that had a wide shot of the Empire State Building in it. That's literally...
By the way, that's true. It's actually, they're not in the street where you live. They're the street down from where you live, so you can still get to sleep at night. Yeah,
and when I wrote Notting Hill, I sent out the location finder to come up with a house that Hugh Grant's character could live in, and he came back with one Polaroid photograph, and it was of my front door. And I thought, that's a joke, but it turned out to be right. But unfortunately, they then built Hugh's flat at Pinewood, I think, or Shepperton, I can't remember which, so I still had to travel into work.
That house came up for sale a couple of years ago again.
Did it?
Your house, yeah.
Yeah, I should never have sold it.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
What a beautiful house.
No, so we flew to New York. We filmed in the snow. We filmed
real snow, or what's your snow like?
I'm not going to reveal that in case it breaks the magic for the viewer. But quite a lot of it's been added.
I think True Lies snow is salt. Salt is the best, isn't it?
I don't know. I noticed that some of the snow was just sort of fabric.
Right.
Yeah, in the distance it's fabric, and then some of it's digital.
Oh my goodness me! So even Richard, even at the age you are, you still have a bucket list of movies to be made and where to make them and why.
Yeah, I think I should make... The thing I'm thinking about is I think I should make a slightly funnier version of The Life of Napoleon. I feel that Ridley's...
I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
No. But I feel he probably not as many gags. not as many height gags as I think I would.
Well, you did it with Blackadder, didn't
would
you?
go for.
Yeah, I mean, you have previous as far as that's concerned. Yeah. Oh my goodness! I was talking to Noah last night about you coming on today because we were playing the Beatles. So last night we had it's Noah and I. It's just Noah and I at tea time on a Monday.
How old is he?
He's 14.
Right.
Till about 6:30, and he was playing some Beastie Boys yesterday, and he said, "Dad, how good are the Beastie Boys?" I said, "Yeah, I know, but can you imagine them rocking out to these songs in period, having just written them? I mean, they're great now, but they were kings of the world then." And then there was a quantum leap. I think we went somewhere else. We went to, there's this particular Beastie Boys song, which is the most downloaded. I can't remember the name of it. It's not Fight for Your Right, but and it sounds for all the world like, well, I thought it sounded like Joy Division and Love Will Tear Us Apart at the beginning. So I said, stick on Joy Division. One of those great conversations, where aren't they the best, right?
I know.
And he'd never heard of Joy Division, and then we put on Love Will Tear Us Apart. And then he said, "It doesn't." I said, "It will in a minute." He said, "Oh yeah, I get what you mean." And then he said, "But this sounds like Pinball Wizard." So on goes Pinball Wizard, and then he starts. Then he asked me about the Beatles and about guitars, and I said, "Well, no, lots of the Beatles songs. If you listen to the demos on, for example, the anthology, which is amazing, isn't it? So so Richard, we stuck those on, and I was literally weeping. I was sobbing because of the beauty of. If you hear the demo of George Harrison's "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," and he was nowhere near the best songwriter in the Beatles. You listen to that song and that vocal and his original acoustic guitar, it will break your heart into a million pieces, and you don't know why. And I still don't know why. But I had to be reassembled to go and pick Eli up at 6:30. Anyway, we get onto that, and we're talking about you because you love the Beatles. Yeah. We always have our Beatles conversations. And then I said, Notting Hill. He went, "Excuse me?" And I realised he's not seen Notting Hill. 4 Weddings and a Funeral. He's not seen 4 Weddings and a Funeral. He's got this all to come. Well done, you.
Making films that young people don't watch?
No, these films are great.
Oh, okay.
They're seminal and they're ageless.
Well, that's
they're
very,
evergreen.
It's. I feel just very lucky. You write what you write. You hope that people like it. And then, if they turn out to be repeatable, that is fabulous. And I did do that film yesterday, which was sort of about the Beatles. And I've had some fun with my son recently, who used to be so against the Beatles, absolutely rap generation. He said, "Dad, they write nursery rhymes." Yeah. He said, "Everything rhymes. They're silly little tunes." And now he's completely spun over. And I got a text from him saying, "Have you ever heard Till There Was You?" Which is like the sweetest cover version by the Beatles and everything. So, eventually they're going to creep into your soul.
Well, he wasn't anti-Beatles, he was anti-dad.
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's what that was.
Maybe that's it.
And by the time you realised your mum and dad were right about the Beatles, you've got a kid who thinks you're wrong about the Beatles.
Do you know, when I was little, the Beatles came to Sweden where I was living. And it was my parents were in a way so naive. It didn't occur to them. We were utterly obsessed by the Beatles, that if the Beatles come to Sweden, you could buy a ticket to see them play their music.
Yeah.
It just didn't occur to them. So for 4 days in a row, me and my sisters were driven by my dad to stand outside the Foresta Hotel and wait for the Beatles to come out on the balcony. And we were there in the snow, and finally the 4 of them came out and waved at us, and that was the best moment of my life until now.
Until you saw the poo in the playground. Is that true or not?
Don't. I'm not.
That's the best.
No, I'm not going to talk about.
But that's your
like
comedy philosophy, isn't it? Is that true or not?
My comedy philosophy is repetition is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's just like every joke that we have with our friends is a joke that we had with our friends the day before and the day before and the day before. That's kind of.
So you've written this. You've made this film, this Christmas film based in New York, something you hadn't done before.
Yeah.
The Napoleon film with gags could happen. May well happen. Now you've said it out loud.
Yeah.
What are the ticks? What are the boxes might you want to tick? Because you said you were going to stop doing all this. You've said that a few times, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Actually, it's quite interesting. I've got a someone was talking to me about this metaphor the other day that you can't leap onto a new trapeze until you let go of the one you've been holding. So I'm actually aiming for one of those moments where I'm going to sort of stop, not have any new commitments, and then find out what, as a human being, I would like to do, the new thing I'm going to grasp.
What's going to come to you?
Well, I'm thinking of poetry, Chris.
No, you're not. Of course, the trapeze thing
I might write a play.
The trapeze
I'd quite like to be a DJ. I think that's
well,
really
we know,
easy.
By the way, I know that.
You know, because I've heard that. I've got friends who are DJs. They never do any homework. They just ask you any old random questions. They say, what's happening, etc., etc., etc. I think I could do that.
Well, if you could do that, then why did you employ a load of us as consultants on your film, The Boat That Rocks?
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
He's paid me once. He paid once to be a consultant, a movie consultant.
I know, but you have paid.
And we got credit at the end of the film.
You have paid so mightily for that, with 30 years of service to Comet Relief.
Yeah.
So I think I've got my own back.
Good. So what's the real answer to the question?
Seriously, I don't know. I don't know. I think I've got to find out.
Still films though.
Well, I don't know. As I say, I think I might write a play. I might be getting involved in a musical.
That sounds like it's happening because you've just changed. Your whole body language has just changed.
I know. We'll have to keep some secrets.
Who's that with? Who's writing the music?
Emma's trying to encourage me. My now wife is trying to encourage me to write 4 funerals and a wedding.
It's got to happen, hasn't it?
Because we do go to quite a lot of funerals. And we're just arguing about...
You've just answered your own question.
No, we're arguing about the wedding because I think the wedding should be a lovely wedding with young people. She thinks the wedding should be a deathbed wedding. Don't you? But I said, one of those ones where just as the guy's about to conk out, he says, marry me, and then, then he dies as he's shoving the ring on the finger.
So that wouldn't be 4 funerals and a wedding. That'd be 4 funerals and a funeral wedding.
Well, exactly. That's where I think the weakness in
it's not.
idea is.
It's like being in the writer's room. 4 funerals and a wedding. That's one of the funerals, but people think it's the wedding, but no, the wedding's still to come because that's also the funeral.
Well, no. You have 3 funerals, then the wedding, then and the other funeral straight away.
No, I disagree with you, Richard. Because she wrote 4 weddings and a funeral. That's a great idea, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, look, it's.
Do you still have to pitch to people, or do people say, "Please come in. Here's the door. What would you like? Tea or coffee?"
Well, I think if I pitch the Napoleon humour movie, I might have to pitch.
Let's just put the Napoleon thing on the back burner for now.
Yeah, I mean, I've tended to have quite mainstream ideas, so it's often easier. But yeah, no, I don't get anything for free, and there's a brilliant young generation of filmmakers who are much better than me. Have you seen Rye Lane?
No.
Oh, that's.
I don't watch as many movies as I used to.
Yeah, no, that's a.
I find them a bit sillier now.
Movies.
Just as you get older, yeah. So like when I see the billboard of someone dressed up as someone,
right?
You go, it just looks like a dressing up party now.
No, unless they're a genie.
Yeah,
in which case
that's one of your films. Obviously.
Yeah, they have to be dressed like a Christmas tree.
You know what I mean? Because I used to love to suspend disbelief and dive straight in. But now, I mean, movies like All Quiet on the Western Front, of course. And Naiad, which we watched at the weekend. Have you seen Naiad?
No.
Jodie Foster. And it's off the chain. Good.
Is it? Oh, that's really exciting. Do you know, I feel what you feel when I'm watching superhero movies now. I think, this poor actor. They've had to muscle up so much and they're dressed like a child at a fancy dress party, and they're having to have really slow, serious conversations about the end of the world, and I do worry about them. But I saw this movie Past Lives recently. That's a beautiful
starring
movie. Can't remember either of the names of the actors.
Big
No, it's a tiny little sort of Korean American movie.
Lives? Yeah, don't know. And the new Nicolas Cage movie is supposed to be amazing as well.
Yeah, my kids saw it.
I
was once at a table with Nicolas Cage. Honestly, it was so exciting. That's actually his face. That's actually what his face looks like.
Nicolas Cage stage. We're going to finish with the Beatles now and then. Thanks for coming in. You're amazing.
Look, if anybody wants to see that show, see the show. If anybody wants to have a life of laughter, watch the Genie. And if anyone wants to be happy for the rest of their lives, listen to Chris Evans in the morning on Virgin Radio. And if anybody wants to fund Should we let's go six funerals and 4 weddings. How about that? Let's make that.
Sounds
film.
like the new football format when everybody scores loads of goals.
Yeah, exactly.
VAR should appear, not appear. Right, let me do this properly. So, Christmas, actually, the South Bank Centre's Royal Festival in London, 7th till the 11th of December. Royal Festival Hall.
Yeah.
southbankcentre.co.uk. Book for that now. Genie is on Sky Cinema from the 1st of December, and 4 funerals and a wedding is going to happen. We were in on the conversation, so technically we are contributors. So change a word, take a third, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You'll be hearing from our people.
And I can see you playing a priest.
Playing what?
A priest.
I thought you said a prince.
No, a priest. I can see you. I can see you in the cameo we've always planned.
Cameo?
Yeah.
Cameo? Oh, all right then.